Today's best music.
Magic 89.9.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, for the millions and millions listening all over the world.
You've seen her on TV. You've seen her. You heard her on radio.
Radio. You've seen her on YouTube.
Over 100,000 subscribers with her plaque on the bagong bago.
Oh my God!
Oh my God! Bagong bago.
Play button.
Bago.
Play button.
Play button. Nasa Lazada yan. Seryoso yung play button.
Pero hindi siya Lazada version.
Pero sa kanya yung original. Hindi Lazada version.
Hindi
on the real deal.
Hindi pang Zoom lang.
Journalist, radio broadcaster, award-winning, recently awarded. Television presenter, if I'm not mistaken, 27 years in the industry and 21 with her current broadcast station, ABS-CBN. Please welcome Miss Christine Karen Leasing Davila Santa Ana.
God!
Hey!
Well, you know, first of all, guys, gusto ko lang sabihin, I've never been in a show na sobrang dami ng gwapong kasama ko. Medyo may male shock factor ako. Over sa pagkagwapo all in one Zoom. But thank you for having me here. You know, I've always been a listener of 89.9. Alam mo, don't laugh. Kahit na noon pa, I felt you played such good music. May times, you know, you want like upbeat music. Talagang, you guys were known for that. Hindi ko alam kung kayo yung batch na yun. I don't know.
Tony for sure.
Si Joe Damango. Si Joe Damango. Love notes si Joe Damango.
Oh,
Yeah. But super happy to have you. Thank you for joining us on the show. We know you are super busy. So many things happening in your life. Congratulations, as we mentioned, on your play button on YouTube. That was big in 5 months.
Thank you.
Record breaking. Also, recently, the Asian Academy Creative Awards, you also won that. Congratulations as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
I mean, is it one of those things where, you know, anything that you do, it's like, it's golden. I mean, what you do is like golden. Are you surprised at how, you know, the people took you in the, say, the YouTube channel? You were like, hey, okay, I'll subscribe.
You know, I'm so happy you asked that question, Rick. And I asked Tony earlier if we're on 89.9 as in the radio station, and he said we're also seen on Facebook. And when he said we're seen on Facebook, I feel this is something I can talk about because Facebook viewers, I do an inspirational devotional thrice a week with Facebook viewers. And I realized more and more during the pandemic that people are more open to speaking about spirituality and their faith. And I like your question, like, is anything that you do successful? I mean, something like that, because I've been asked many times. So I'd have to say that when I started my broadcast career, so I've been in broadcasting 28 years, I started with the mental makeup of what my parents told me. Alam mo, so I come from a middle... Wait, do you have the time? How does this...
Of course, yes. Go ahead.
I'd love to hear the story.
Yeah,
Ikaw lagi nag-interview eh. Mabaliktad natin. We want to know about you. Mabaliktad rin natin. Oh.
I come from a middle class family. I went to a private school, but I remember I always share this story in 1983 when Ninoy Aquino died. I mean, I'm 50 years old, so I don't know how old you guys are. The economy went down at maraming Pilipinong naghirap noon. And I remember, of course, I grew up na my parents, I was a teenager, parang life was financially difficult. My father wasn't working and my mom and dad had to get into small businesses. And basta, I mean, I have the whole night to tell you, but ang hirap-hirap ng buhay noon. And I always thought, my God, Lord, I wasn't a Christian then, but ganito na lang ba to? Parang paycheck to paycheck, ang hirap magbayad ng tuition, umuutang nanay ko. It was just terrible.
Yeah, parang parati naghahabol ng something.
Ang hirap nun. I don't believe anybody would want to be in a situation where you're always unsure where to get the next that you need, no?
Yeah.
And alam ng
meal.
listeners ko yun. And my mom told me that, Karen, basta mapagtapos kita ng pag-aaral, kahit wala akong maipamana sa'yo na exact words, pera, alahas, lupa, you can achieve and be anything you want to be. And then my father told me, you know, Karen, failure is not an option for you. And the only barrier to you and success is you. And my mom said, you're not entitled to anything, Karen. Ang taong matalino, tatalunin ng taong masipag. And I swear to you, I know this sounds cliche because, I mean, there's a whole world out there of like people make so much money, gaming, social media, but I'm not from that world. I mean, this
Face shield
YouTube.
now.
Kala ko face shield, kasama mo eh.
Gaming,
Sama
face
face shield, di ba?
media.
Sama na natin yun.
Easy yan, easy.
Ay, tayo naman.
Mas malaki yung kinita doon kaysa gaming.
Old school this way na brick and mortar. So when Rick asked me this, when I entered broadcasting, I just had to be excellent, I felt, in anything I did.
Yeah.
So I wasn't the best. I don't have the best voice. I'm not the prettiest. I'm not the greatest in my field, but I'd have to say I try the hardest.
Okay.
I think.
The hustle.
Hardest worker in the room.
Said it. I'm the hardest worker in the room. Maybe it's not at each and every point in time because you do get tired, you get sick.
Yeah.
Of course.
But in many points in time, I would have to say no one can say, tamad yan, she won't do it. Wala akong ganung reputation, right? So I just, there were no shortcuts for me. When I wanted to do something, it's 200%. So when I started YouTube, I was very scared to do YouTube, guys.
Yeah.
And then we didn't have a franchise anymore, but I was doing Head Start on ANC and The World Tonight. And Kuya Kim, who's one of my best friends, we were friends since college. And I met Sam actually through Kim. And Kim said, you know, Karen, you need to start your YouTube. I said, what am I going to do there? And he said, you're just scared. You're scared to be rejected because, you know, you've been on TV for so long and YouTube is
It's a different world.
The different
Parang
world
millennial.
And YouTube is very humbling in the sense that nanliligaw ka sa viewer.
Yeah.
Ang TV kasi, the content is foisted upon you, right? When you see me on TV, you kind of have no choice.
Yeah.
Yun na
You
yan.
move to another station, you just move to 3, right? But in YouTube, you're talking about, I choose to subscribe to this person, or I like what this person's showing, or I don't like, and then they don't watch you. So it can be inconsistent. You can have 8 million views one day, and your next content, forget it. May ganon.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's that kind. And I remember when I started YouTube, I didn't know what to do. And Kim brought me to B-Boy Arboleda's team, which is B617. And they guide a lot of TV people on how to go on YouTube.
Transitioning
I didn't even
to
know that's a
YouTube.
business, but apparently it is. So B-Boy handles like Judy Ann Santos, Jody Santa Maria, Kim, Ami Perez, etc. So I said, what am I gonna do? And then I also spoke to Chinky Tan, and I took, you know, a self-reflection period of, who are you? You know, that kind. Who are you as a person?
Yeah.
And I realized that as a person, I want to be inspirational, an encourager, etc. And my boss said something funny, and I listened to it. O Karen, mag-YouTube ka na. Baka mamaya tulad yan ng ibang mga vlogger, pinapakita nila lahat ng buhay nila.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Buong
Yeah.
bahay, buong
That's
whatever
true.
happens
Right.
every day.
Yeah.
Woke up like this.
Their
House
expensive-
tour, what's inside
or
my
their
bag.
expensive lifestyle. Exactly. And my boss, who I respect very much, Jing Reyes, said, you can't do that. And she was right. You know, being a journalist, at the end of the day, I can't be completely another person on YouTube. But I felt I could be myself because wherever I am a journalist. You know, you don't leave the tenets of journalism just because, oh, wow, I tried a podcast.
Yeah.
I tried YouTube, or I'm on 89.9.
Yeah.
You know, you're a journalist through and through.
Yeah.
I think one thing I enjoyed about one of your videos was, and I think a lot of future broadcasters or journalists right now is, hindi mo binaboy yun
Content.
no,
the image, it's
her profession.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hindi niya
My profession.
binaboy
Agree.
yung profession.
para lang to get followers or get subscribers for that matter.
No, even just as a journalist, she said
Yeah.
she never
Yeah.
took any bribery.
Yes.
She's always hard hitting questions. That's why she's known as matapang, and they've called her many names because she always asks the questions that everyone's afraid to ask.
That
right?
people, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And especially in Pasada sa Istrenta, I think that's
Yeah.
that's when I'm driving to work, and then,
Yeah.
and you are kind of like, it's rare for a Filipina to actually be angry at the top of her lungs.
Yeah.
In the morning.
I regret. I felt I was younger. I could have done it better.
Better. But we learn as you go along.
Yeah.
That's your character. I mean, that's you, wanting to know the truth, wanting to know why, this is happening. And it's very toxic. Our industry is, well, ours is much more lighter, but yours is actually straight news, which is very toxic every day.
Yes.
Whose head isn't gonna explode, with the news when you hear something. So, yeah, but sorry to cut you off, but that's one thing I really remember.
Thank you. No, so just to continue, then I'll go into your train of thought. So what I did when I started YouTube is I reintroduced myself humbly to an audience who may not know me. That's what I did. So my first episode is really, who are you? And people ask me, why would you do that? People know you. I said, no. So I had to speak about my history, my family, why I am what I am, and why I end up asking the hard questions. It's all in my first episode.
Was that weird for you to do? Like, I mean,
Yes.
considering it's been 20 plus years, you've been on TV for, and your friends are right. Everybody knows you to some degree, you know? So
Yeah.
was it strange?
Gino, my take, and I'll tell you this. Many great people fail because they're so arrogant. And that's the one thing. I mean, I learned this from my father because he had his own faults when he was younger. He was very brilliant, and he had his fits of arrogance and pride. And I realized earlier on that many people fail in their career because they're arrogant. They can't help themselves.
Hubris.
Yeah, so that's the one thing I settled early on when I was a broadcaster, that if I'm told I was wrong, I mean, there are times, of course, you hate criticism, but I take it. I'm a good soldier. There were times I felt I was for a certain show, but I didn't get it. I didn't leave the network. Or there were times that you're treated badly too. I mean, not by the network, but you can't help it. You're not with perfect people all the time.
Yeah.
And
You want a name?
no.
Kailangan mag-name drop, sabi ko.
I'm saying you just kind of you roll with it. You roll with the punches, so to speak.
Tama.
So when YouTube happened, Gino's right. I didn't feel already a sense of
Entitlement.
I shouldn't be doing this. But many people came and said, you know how it is that I'm also not liked by the world, but I lifted that up to the Lord because I'm a born again Christian, more so today than I was 10 years ago. I would have to say I was quite delinquent in my spiritual walk for many years. But I had people saying, ayan, wala ka na kasing trabaho. Sarado na kasi ABS. Kaya nag-YouTube ka na lang. Vlogger ka na lang. And they even said, you look down on vloggers, which was not true.
Yeah.
My nephew is Will Dasovich.
Yeah.
And he is a vlogger.
He's like one of the biggest vloggers in the Philippines. So
But I guess because of how they view mainstream media as ang yayabang ng mainstream media, nagbo-vlogging siya. So ang tanong, why did I start vlogging is what people don't understand. I started vlogging because I didn't want to lose the people who knew me in ABS-CBN. It's as simple as that. I missed my audience. And true enough, when I was able to think of the content that they missed, which is still interviewing people, the lighter side of them, which is my blog, they wanted to be inspired. The ABS-CBN audience that knew me are in my YouTube. So, you know, I mean, people, let's say, would say, hindi ka masa. That's not true. I was in ABS-CBN for a long time. I did TV Patrol, Bandila, The Correspondence, by Puhunan. But then I become more known for Head Start.
Yes. Right.
That's the thing. Right? But
transition from career.
Please go. Yeah.
And I guess that's the thing is that, of course, people know you in ABS.
And BZMM.
Yes,
that too.
For 18 years.
And it's such a weird thing when people say that, is that, oh, okay, you know, people might not understand English, but then it's not that part, is that you aren't going to dumb down to the audience. The audience will move up to your level, and that ABS-CBN audience is moving up to your YouTube level. Now, all of a sudden, hey, okay, I can enjoy this. I can, you know, we have to feel that they understand what we're talking about, so that at least they can feel uplifted themselves, that okay, this is where it's going. Is because we do have a question here, is that how do you compose yourself if a certain guest doesn't on your show doesn't know the answers? Because
mainit na yung ulo mo.
we've seen it on Headstart.
I've seen it.
All of a sudden, like,
alam mo namang hindi yun yung sagot. Nagsisinungaling sa harap mo. Pero
tapos you're just so cool. If it was any of us, we'd like, come on!
Loko ka pala eh. Ano na tayo eh. Wala tayo maglokod dito
Well, number one, I think DZMM being on radio, and you guys know this, you're on radio. I mean, it's more freewheeling, right? When I was in DZMM, there were times I lost my cool. Vic Lima and I miss him greatly. We would be either, you know, you'd be in a conversation with guests, right?
Yeah.
And Head Start is different. I mean, since the medium itself is more, well, number one, it's in English. So it shows all around the world, right? So it has a different pace.
Right.
So in Head Start, the way I interview is also quite different from BZMM. But in Head Start, for example, there have been days that I've been really tough, which is why I won that Asian Academy Award for Best News Anchor, is because the piece we presented was an interview with Harry Roque. When Harry Roque kept insisting the president remained neutral in the closure of ABS-CBN. So that's how the interview went, and maybe I'll repost it one day. And I said, but how could you say that? In his speech in Sulu, the president himself said he shut down a network without declaring martial law. And apparently, Malacanang edited out that section. And so Harry kept saying, I don't know about that. And I just said, but this means you could be wrong. You don't know everything that
you can say it with certainty.
Is saying. You don't know everything. And then that's when, of course, he lost it, right? So that's actually the episode that won. But am I perfect every day on Head Start? The answer is no. I'm the first to tell you there are days, I mean, where I'm slow. I don't get to ask the best questions, even if I study, because or some days I should be challenging more, which my bosses have said, you should have challenged this person more. You should have
pushed a bit more.
Pushed a bit more. And I'll look back and I'll say, okay. So the thing with interviews is there's no wrong or right formula. That's the thing. And you know that on radio. You behave according to
the answers as well. By listening.
Answers as well. The how, frankly, it's also how you are that day. You're not a robot.
True. Exactly.
You know, there are
it depends
days
on how you're feeling
as well. And which is why I want the four of you to read this book. It's called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. It's Oprah's favorite book. It's a short pocket book, but it's a guide to your life. And the first agreement is this: do your best all the time. What does that mean? So if you're sick, you're not performing well on radio that day, your attitude is still, I'll do my best. You know,
whatever level your best is at that day.
Exactly. Because you have different levels of best.
True.
You know, my days wala akong boses, so oh my God, half the time, how am I gonna survive?
What do you do?
May days na
What-
hindi ka funny. May mga days na
What's your go-to when you lose your voice?
I'll
What is
be
it?
honest.
Pipakwa?
I'll be honest with you. My voice is more delicate, I would have to say, than most people. So I had hyperthyroidism and I had radioactive iodine in my 20s. And doctors tell me that the onset of that is you have a weaker box.
Right.
It's more the endurance of it is
And here you are in broadcasting.
yes.
Yeah.
So number two, I've always had a bad case of acid reflux worsened with my schedule when I did Head Start, DZMM, and Bandila all in one day.
Wow.
And I was doing that for 11 years. So I would sleep 1 a.m. and wake up at 5:30 to study, right?
Yeah.
And of course, your voice is not awake yet. You guys know that, right? It takes a while before it warms up. You kind of hit in the middle of the day. Actually, this period is the perfect time.
Alam ngayon na stretch na buti.
Good ka na dito.
Your acid reflux has gone down.
Right.
You know. But there were times before in Bandila, twice I remember, that I was on air with Julius and Cess and I lost it. And I just cried. I mean, really cried and said, Lord, I can't keep doing this. If you want me here in this job, you've got to help me.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, I don't know if any of you read the Bible, but this is when Paul said he's asked God to take away the thorn on his flesh. And that's the thorn on my flesh. I'm in broadcasting and I don't have this Noli de Castro voice box where it's freaking.
It's always there. You know?
Right.
And there are people like that, like Vic Lima. Vic Lima will drink to death and go
Next
to
day.
radio. And I'm like,
How?
Right? Yeah.
no reflux, nothing. Wala, Karen.
Kulang ka lang nag-yossi pa eh, no? I'm super okay.
Yeah, and Vic has a very baritone voice. Right?
And you know, I interviewed, you should interview her. I don't know if you I'm sure you know her, but I don't know if you've done an interview with her. So I interviewed Joyce Spring, right?
Yeah.
To be a radio.
She's also. Yeah, she's
She was
also.
from Magic.
Magic before, yeah.
So
She was. Hindi ko, baka,
So,
Hindi mo
she was
nabutan?
on radio. So what happened to Joyce Spring is she was on radio, then did GMA TV, and then became a star in the podcast world. So she does podcasts twice a week and became a star. And she said she used to party so hard, she would drink till she dropped, was her exact words. She would go on 89.
did you state why?
Bakit?
So
She
hard?
was troubled. She said she had a bad childhood. So it's quite familiar from many stories.
Yeah.
So these are the kinds of interviews I did on the podcast. I just did 6 episodes. I tried it, went well, stopped first. And she said from radio, from 89, I'm guessing, after that, she would drink till she dropped till the next day, like let's say go
5 a.m.
4 a.m. Like an insane time, would wake up with no voice, be brought to the emergency room, and have steroids. That's what you put in your voice.
Injected,
You have steroids put in you, your voice comes out. And she just said at some point, this has to stop. And that's how she found the Lord. And she's so different now. I mean, I don't have that story, but I'm saying I realize with broadcasters, it happens to everyone in different ways and different forms.
Yeah. Did you ever have a party side, Karen?
I was going to get that. Well, how does Karen? I mean, we celebrate New Year's together practically, but how does Karen have fun?
The irony is because of my schedule in broadcasting, I wouldn't drink Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would only drink
Saturday, Sunday.
with friends, not even Sunday, rarely, Gino,
Okay, yeah.
but Saturday. So it was that day,
Yeah.
that's a window I felt I could drink, recover the next day. Before,
Yeah.
because it was so bad that if I had in my earlier years, maybe 2 glasses of wine, and then I do a newscast. I couldn't understand my voice because I didn't understand what acid reflux was then. When I was younger, I didn't know what it was. As I got older and researched, doctors talked to me, then I realized that acid reflux is real.
Yeah.
Like, is real for us. It came later on in the day when I really understood how it worked.
Yeah.
Let's say I would run on the treadmill. I would be so shocked. I would run 5 kilometers, then take a shower and lie down to rest. When I stand up, I'd have no voice. And I would like, Doc, I didn't get it. I didn't talk. I didn't drink. To find out running gives you acid reflux.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So it's a journey, I think, for all of us, even you guys here, because you find it out along the way.
Yeah.
But I guess, I don't know, people have to live with me, so this is it. Right?
But you know what time? How does the day go for you? What time do you wake up, and how does Karen Davila have? What is your fun side? What do you do for fun?
Well, before the pandemic, I'd love to travel. And I do like to eat and drink on a weekend and see friends. But I'll be honest, because of I was such a workaholic, which partly destroyed, I would have to say, my voice, because I wasn't sleeping.
Yeah.
I wasn't much fun, Sam. I'll be honest. On a regular day.
Yeah, because we see you in the morning, we don't see you at night. So parang natulog ba to?
Or di na natutulog.
And so before, I would do Head Start. I'd wake up at 6, 5:36. Head Start 8 to 9. And you remember, if you do it once in a while, it's okay.
Yeah. But if it's consistent.
11 years of Head Start. And then I would go out for my puhunan on field. So twice a week. So I'd go out, interview, etc., etc. And then I would go home and take a nap. But by the time gusto mo tulog-tulog, I'll wake up because I was doing pasada sa Istrenta. But I have to leave Makati at 3:30 because traffic, remember, pre-pandemic was so bad.
Bad.
I always get to pasada so late or late. But
Late pala.
You know, and then but they could understand, the bosses would, but of course I got reprimanded. So that's 4:30 to 5:30. I would go back to Makati to eat dinner with my kids. And then I would leave Makati at 9:30, 10 to do Bandila that would air 11:50.
It's crazy how you were doing bookends. Like,
Exactly.
Oh nga, so I wanted to ask
to
that.
do 2 to 3 shows that are right next to each other makes sense. But like
yung
the
bookends,
bookends,
yun yung that'll take a toll.
wild. Yeah, and wow.
And if you ask me how did I survive it, I would really have to say that was God's grace. I don't know how. I mean, and I don't want to go back to it again.
Yeah.
But I guess it's like that. But like, you chose that path at that time. That was a priority. The whole, of course, your career. And you can't have, partying at night and that career life at the same time. You can have everything, but at the proper time. At that time, of course, it would be impossible to still be, hanging out, going drinking, tapos bookends.
Yes.
It would just appetite for destruction.
I said it, Sam. So like, I would have friends that would have dinner weekdays and I could never go. I never went. Everybody would have dinner weekdays and I'm never there. And that it was the life I chose. I knew I had to earn money and I'm a big saver. Hindi ako magastos. So, I mean, I had a very good contract in ABS-CBN and they took care of me, which is why when ABS-CBN was not granted a franchise, I really wanted to stay with ABS-CBN. Because, I mean, I love the company. I mean, it's not perfect. It's not great all the time. But overall, I always say I would not have been Karen Davila if not for the opportunities ABS-CBN opened up to me. Okay, the company isn't perfect, but I would have to say I had a chance to do so many things in ABS. So, I mean, there will be changes by next week.
Bawal sabihin.
Yeah. I mean, changes that are going now. Many people are running. Yeah, so who knows? But it'll change.
But that's interesting, is that everyone knows you as ABS-CBN Karen Davila. But if you did not choose that path, or the Lord didn't lead you that way, who would Karen Davila be? What path would you have taken? What was your
interest?
What was your what if I took this other
Advertising, lawyer.
Passion niya, passion.
Prior to ABS-CBN, I was 6.5 years with GMA 7. When I graduated from college, I was really with GMA. So I did great, wonderful things in GMA. That's where I really learned.
Yeah.
And Marisa Flores was such a good boss. So I did Brigada 7 with Louis Beltran, Jessica Soho, Arnold Clavio, the icons. I learned so much from them. Cara David, we worked together. And then I did the probe team. So I worked with Cheche Lazaro. I did Saksi. I was Mike's first partner in Saksi. So my 6.5 years with GMA 7 was very good. But then I prayed about it and I felt it was time to move. I just wanted to grow. And that's why I went to ABS.
Right.
So your next question is, if I weren't a broadcaster, what would I have been? I wanted to be a fashion designer.
Wow.
So
Really?
Yeah. Tell us about the story how you got rejected. Tell us. That's a great
Thank you, Tony. So I was always designing my classmates' prom dresses in high school, and I loved to draw. I was reading Vogue when I was 16, and I loved Donna Karan. She was a cake designer in the 80s for women.
Yeah.
And after graduation, I applied at Parsons School of Design in New York.
Yeah.
And I applied for a full scholarship because we couldn't afford it, right?
Right. Yeah.
My parents didn't have the money.
And it's expensive.
Of course. And I applied
general.
for a full scholarship and I got rejected. And I thought my life was over. So for many kids out there who you may have a different path for your life and one doesn't work out, you think it's over. There's no career for me. It's so not true. So I went, I passed UP and Ateneo, and I wanted to go to Ateneo because some of my close friends were there, but I knew my parents couldn't afford it. I felt if I went to Ateneo, I would burden
They'd have a hard
them.
time. Yeah.
So I went to UP and I had an aunt who was helping us with the tuition. She was also, she came from UP and she's passed away now, but me, my sister was a scholar for classical music. And I wanted to take up fine arts. And my dad said, Karen, hindi ka naman ganun ka-talented. Baka maghirap ka ng todo.
Mag-backfire ako.
And have this talent of, being brutally honest.
Huwag tayo dyan.
Sagot tayo dyan, Karen. Mahirap ka dyan.
Talo tayo dyan.
So naisip ko, what would I do? I couldn't take up business. I was so bad at math to the point I flunked math 101. I think it's 101 in UP. I had to retake it. Right? And so I took mass comm because I loved writing. I was the editor in our high school paper. I was a photographer. And true enough, when I took up mass comm, who knew? My professors told me, you need to be in the news. You need to be a news anchor. I said, why? Because you speak so well. You have clarity of thought. You enunciate well, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And that was the only time I started watching Lauren Legarda, Cheche Lazaro, Corina Sanchez. They were also famous already then. Sabi ko, my God, ang idol ko nun, super si Lauren. Lauren and Cheche. Diba
the icons.
PLR.
Right.
I wanted to be like a Lauren, no? I mean, in broadcasting. And she was doing The World Tonight. I mean, at the end of the day, to cut a long story short, I became a broadcast journalist. So you really never know, is what I'm saying.
Well, let's move. Let's break away from the serious stuff. How was Karen before she got married? In terms of the dating scene, were you the girl in college that
guys are lining up for
boyfriend o hindi, bahay lang, bahay uwi, studies.
One of my best friends, Lindy Castillo, in UP, I mean, she was such a party girl, but I was part of a group called ISEC. And
ISEC. International organization,
So I was with Isaac, and she was my best friend in UP.
Yeah.
And Kim and I were already friends by then. And I always went out. I always had a date every Sunday. And dating before was way different.
Of course.
From today.
Yeah.
When I hear about dating today, I'm like, oh God, no. In my time,
Shock and awe.
yes, in my time, when people would say, yeah, we dated.
Yeah.
Like, you dated the whole Manila. It literally meant
We had dinner.
I picked you up.
Yeah.
You were set up that Saturday, you had dinner, and
Yeah.
you'd all meet up with your friends in Faces, Mars, Euphoria. You get it, right?
Tones. Alam mo yan, tones.
That was it. I mean,
Yeah.
now it's like the scene is different.
Yeah. Now dating is basically you're
Dating before-
together. You know.
Dating before didn't mean sex.
Yeah.
Right.
That's funny. Is the party scene back then? You'd see Boy at Season and Louis Ismael. Until now,
Until now, you still.
those are the guys that I still see. Like it doesn't change. Like they haven't aged. It's like they have the fountain of youth within them. For some parents.
Constance.
I feel like I'm headed down that path. But also, let's touch upon something that's very close to you. There's this thing called tough love, and your son, growing up, had autism, and you were very vocal about
it.
and you shed a lot of light, and now you actually helped a lot of parents
Thank you.
who are struggling to obviously when you first find out, it's not easy.
Yeah. Not everybody will know how to handle it. You know. Yeah.
So thank you for asking me that. Actually, Sam's met my son David in El Nido. He has a good memory because Sam was there when I was celebrating New Year with Kuya Kim. Maybe two Christmases ago, right? 2 years ago, I'd have to say, or three. But anyway, so when my son David was diagnosed with autism at 3 years old, I was such a career woman. I did not know he had autism.
Yeah.
So that's how sometimes I went through a period of guilt and blaming myself. So I was doing, I was doing an evening newscast then because he was born 2002.
Yeah.
And I started doing TV Patrol 2004. And on television, TV Patrol is the newscast.
Yeah.
That is the shit.
Yes.
In short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right time, etc. And I was doing that for 6 years. And David was growing up.
Growing up.
Roughly 2, 3. I didn't know he had autism. I felt so he wasn't speaking. He was looking back. He was he was playing differently.
Yeah.
He didn't have eye contact, but I didn't know it then. He was a bit. The word isn't violent, but he wasn't easy to be with. You know what I mean? So I didn't know what it was. I just thought he was spoiled.
Yeah.
And when people would say, why isn't he speaking at 2? Why isn't he calling you mom? I would say, yeah, but DJ is so quiet. My husband's name is DJ. So when they call you DJ Tony, that's like my husband. Then DJ. So David Jude. So anyway, it was Small Laude. That's why Small and I are friends. The YouTube starred.
Yes. Small. Yeah.
Small. So I met Small in a Bible study. And she saw David, and you should have her on your show. Your show will be a riot. I'll give you the number.
We should. Oh,
Super interesting.
Oh my
Super.
God, she
Such
is
a character.
hilarious. You ask her the funny. It's like you're going to be laughing all evening. Anyway, so she owned a school, Green Hills Learning Center, that was inclusive to kids with autism or in the spectrum. And one day, David was 3, and she said, Karen, so we were in a restaurant, and David was screaming on the other table.
Yeah.
And I said, he's just spoiled. He's spoiled. She said, Karen, I have to tell you something. You have to have him checked. That's not typical.
Yeah.
There could be something wrong with him. And, you just have him checked.
Yeah.
Because, then she talked about autistic behaviors, and I was so shocked.
Yeah.
So I went to a doctor that she gave, Dr. Francis de Malanta, and went on from there. And true enough, David had autism.
Yeah.
So for 2 weeks, my husband and I were crying because we didn't know what to do.
To do.
Yeah.
You love your son, your child, but you don't you want to accept them, but you don't want them to be helpless all their lives.
Right.
So this
Yeah.
is the different, I think, road I took. Doctors in the Philippines are quite conservative then. And I hope you have many mothers listening to you who would tell me, you join a support group. And I almost said a bad word because I don't need a support group. What I need is a solution.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
No, it's like they're taking care of the mothers. You need a support group. No,
Yeah.
I need a different
solution.
track.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you have mothers listening to you and they have special needs kids, what I did at 3.5 years old when he was diagnosed, I did completely everything revolutionary, which was not believed in the Philippines.
Yeah.
So David was 3.5. That would have been maybe 2005. It's 2021 today.
Yeah.
David's 19 now.
Right.
So I looked for, there was a co-parent, the dean of the school who had 2 kids with autism, and she treated them through Defeat Autism Now doctors. And it's to make it short, biomedical treatment that actually helped, you treated kids through food, supplements, blood tests.
Nice.
In effect, redoing your whole system.
Yeah. Like a lifestyle.
Parang
change.
reboot.
Yeah.
Reboot. So that's the story. Is does David eat gluten? No. Does he eat dairy? No.
Yeah.
And the times that I made him cheat, I made him cheat for like 2 years, maybe.
Yeah.
To try.
Yeah. Because I thought, matanda na to. He's
Okay
Okay
na.
na. Systems develop.
Oh, so I let him cheat maybe when he was 15 years old, not to 19. And at 19, he had a seizure. That full-blown seizure that I talked about, wherein, oh my God, when he had that full-blown seizure, that's really when I would have to say my Christianity solidified, because I only called on the name of Jesus Christ at the verge when he was dying. There's nothing you can do when someone's having a seizure.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yes.
You have to let the seizure pass.
Yes.
Then they either become vegetable or they recover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they
grab a
would-
spoon and
Yes.
stick it in their mouth, and then
Yeah. And my husband actually stuck his fingers in, and for a few days he couldn't move it. The doctor said, you shouldn't have done that, because people that have seizures, they really clench
clamp
so
down,
hard
yeah.
that they can break the bone.
Bone.
Yeah. But I'm sure at that point your husband was probably like,
Yes.
better my bone than your life.
Survival mode.
He was wearing a retainer, and I thought he was choking.
Yeah.
You get?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said he maybe swallowed his retainer.
Natanggal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the story with David. Is for the listeners, that's the tough love. I think is if you make a decision as a mother that, yes, I love my child, but I will do my best to make him better.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing now of just plain acceptance. And that's great, but
Yeah.
that's great for you.
Yeah.
But that's not great for the child.
For them, yeah.
So your job is to really fully accept and love unconditionally. That's your job, right? And that's that's the job of society, to make it more inclusive, that we accept all special needs people, that we love them. We know that we're all one in Christ, but you can't leave them the way they are. And just to put in a little spirituality here, Jesus does the same for you. He loves you the way you are, but he won't leave you the way you are. So it's the same banana when you think of it.
do you have before we end? I know you have World Tonight.
World Tonight.
In 8 minutes. Do you have something from God's
Another
Promises?
packed day.
Oh. No, we'd love to, of course, talk longer. Ganda ng usapan, but we do know you have work.
Such an interesting.
Oh, it's a side of you people don't know and haven't seen it. Oh.
From your God's Promises, or what's that book? Was it Battlefield of the Mind?
I love it. Do you listen? Do you watch?
Yeah.
Oh my God, see, he watches my mornings. No, so what I do, so in my Facebook, so I asked him. So to let you know, so I started Facebook maybe, I don't know, 2013 or 2014. Now, slowly, I didn't know what it was, but I did it, right? And when I moderated the presidential debate in 2016, so he was still a mayor then, Mayor Duterte, right?
Yeah.
So I moderated it in Pangasinan. Many people don't remember this anymore. So I had, frankly speaking, all the questions were cleared by Comelec, right? So we did a fast talk segment, if you can remember. And at the end, I felt, oh Lord, thank you. I think I did a good job.
Yeah.
And my boss has said, Gabby Lopez said, congrats, Karen, great job, whatever.
Yeah.
Then Kim calls me and says, Karen, have you opened your Facebook? No, why? Don't. What? Don't open your Instagram. Don't open your Twitter. Don't open your Facebook. So by this time, my Twitter was already something like 2 million. Parang malaki nun. My Instagram was starting, but my Facebook, I think 75,000 people. It's a page, not a private Facebook.
That's a private one, yeah, of course.
So, and of course, I couldn't help myself. I opened it. It was hate unbelievable. Karen, napaka-biased mo. Buti kung yun lang. Pamatay ka na, pare-rape kita, papapatay kita. PI mo, pag nakita kita sa Rockwell.
Lahat.
Kidnapping kita. I mean, ABS-CBN tracked, no? They can only track the hate messages on the ABS-CBN page.
Not on yours.
Right? I mean, on the ABS-CBN page, there were 65,000 hate messages against me after that presidential debate within an hour.
Yeah.
And this time, we didn't know what trolling was. We didn't know
So marami.
what media armies were.
Yeah.
2016, that term didn't exist, right?
Yeah.
I felt,
Well, in China it did, but not here.
Yes,
You know?
right? We didn't know there were farms here. I said, am I this?
Do people detest me this much? Like,
Maybe this much?
Yeah.
Did I do wrong?
Yeah.
As a journalist, my moral compass got confused. So I shut down Facebook for 6 years. Well, 5.
Yeah.
It was shut down. 5 years. And then my Instagram for 2 weeks I deleted the post, went on private. And Twitter, I didn't shut it down, but I took out the app.
Para mute.
Just so you don't have to see it anymore.
Yeah.
And then I prayed to the Lord and asked, this was 2016, because I was a Christian in my 20s, right?
Yeah.
But I was delinquent, so I don't know.
Aren't we all at one point?
Parang it didn't count.
Karen, do you want to expound on the delinquency?
Next show, ha?
Next show,
Doon
next
tayo sa
time,
delinquent.
I'd really like to find out. Yeah.
I think that's
when you're
I'm
not
trying
fully
to.
surrendered, right? I mean, so I asked the Lord, 2016, Lord, bakit ganon? I prepared real hard. Alam mo naman, matino po akong journalist. And in the 2016 debate, I literally had no biases.
Yeah.
Because I was never against what they felt I was against. I was not against the mayor at all.
Yeah.
He was Mayor Duterte then eh.
Yeah.
I mean, he was exciting. You know, we had him on DZMM. I was excited to meet him. So I feel the whole country was, to be fair, excited, right? So that was unfair. And this was the one thing clear that I knew was from the Lord. And this was it. Karen, I didn't put you there to be loved. That's not your job. And wow, that kind of put me back on the path we're in.
This is who I am.
What I do.
This is
take it.
Yeah.
It's not
I was
my
actually-
job to be liked.
I was actually going to ask Kanina how you deal with earlier on in the show, how you deal with bashers, because of course we all see it, you know.
Yes, yes.
But I like what you just said. I like how you explained everything, and that answers the question altogether.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I love, people always ask me that, Sam, and I do for your listeners when I answer this. How do you deal with bashers? You don't.
Yeah.
You don't. You really cannot.
Yes.
Because one, there are times when you can talk to some bashers, and I have,
Yeah.
when I checked, and they're real people.
Yeah.
Like
Yes,
when I mean real people, everyone's a real person, you know.
Hindi yung itlog yung profile
Yes,
picture.
it's not an account made just to hit you.
Yeah.
Meaning real people with opinions, real people that really follow you.
Yeah.
And then I've messaged some quietly, and I've asked, excuse me, sir,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you. And this is where, Gino, humility plays a role.
Yeah.
But you don't see yourself as invincible or infallible.
Yeah.
Right? You know, social media has removed all of that. Gone were the days when big media were the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
Right? You're untouchable. It's not true anymore.
True.
So I feel that what's important is for them to understand you, and you to also understand where they're coming from. That's
Yeah.
one. Number two is Michelle Obama's statement of when they go low, we go high. That's the only way. You cannot you cannot go down there.
Yeah.
The minute you do, you lose. They don't lose.
Yeah.
You,
Because you're the one that's adjusting to their level, and you.
there's
Yeah.
no way out if you go low.
Yeah.
And you have people that are heavily trolled, Maria Ressa, so many people that have handled bashing in their own way. And my personal take, it used to affect me a lot because lies have been spread about me.
Especially if it's personal. Sakit
Yeah,
yan, di ba?
lies
Yeah.
that even in that hit on my morality, which is not true. I don't want to repeat what's said. I'm sure you've seen them. And people have told me, why don't you sue this person? And you know, yes, I should, but I'm not there. You get me? I think
Yeah,
my
yes.
heart is not there. You know, I mean, Kiko Pangilinan did sue, you know, some YouTube vlogger, and he even sued Google.
Yeah.
And he said, it's your job to like watch over these accounts.
To police everything.
Yeah, but how could you, right? I mean,
Yeah.
seriously.
It's too many.
Crazy now.
Yeah. It's too
It's
crazy.
just too many. So,
That could be my sideline if you want. I can do that.
We can do that for Google Philippines.
you also have to be that light out there. There are people that are courageous today, that are bold, and we're not alone. We used to live in a time where we questioned ourselves because social media overpowered us and made us question our thinking, right? You lose integrity of thought. But today you are seeing more and more Filipinos just come out and realize what was done wrong.
True.
And you're seeing it more now on Facebook. Before, people were silenced,
Yeah.
right? If you had this opinion, you would be unfriended, you would be hounded. And it's not the same today. People are more independent thinkers today. Because, 5 years has passed, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're able to see now the reality on your own.
Yeah.
You're seeing good and bad. To be fair, it's not all bad, but you're seeing good and bad. So, hindi ka na pwede lokohin as much.
Yeah.
But for the upcoming elections, are social media armies what's being used for campaigning? Absolutely yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
CBN shut down. The war is on social media.
Yeah.
It will be on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. That's where the war is.
That is true.
Yeah.
Making you believe this candidate is really the strongest. This candidate is because that's where they get
It gets into your head. Like
Oh,
it's
it's
inception,
that's what it is.
basically.
Perception.
Yeah.
And that's what you check out
social
there.
media is
Yeah.
about getting into your head.
Yeah, it's really just as simple as planting that seed of, ito yung
Ay
mananalo.
naman, okay nga.
Ito yung
diba?
okay to.
Ay naman,
Wala.
pwede na.
Oh, now all of a sudden,
Naman
this survey, they're on top.
Mataas
Oo,
okay na
so
ito.
mahirap na talunin
yeah.
yan. So ito na lang tayo. Diba? Like, little things like that.
Gone are the days na puro poster sa Meralco poste, di ba? Sige, ito na lang. Wala na yan. Oh,
Everybody, politicians are spending
Social
on
media.
social media. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they would approach people like yourselves. Because what do you do now? It's really radio.
Yeah.
It's Facebook and you're on Facebook.
Yeah.
So, it's to be interviewed by people that are active in these platforms.
Well, I just want to just add in there, Karen, that I also want to boast with the three of us before Gino joined us that we have rejected large amounts of
Same, I was in a different station ba?
Campaign money, which was very enticing, very. It was an amount that we would never see, at one time.
I gotta say, Tones, every time I look at my Meralco bill, a part of me is kind of like, maybe I should have gotten it.
Maybe I should have said yes.
When I see the houses and the wang-wangs on the street, I'm like, maybe I should have gotten it.
And I wanted to ask you this. And this one, I think I want to make clear is one. Being a journalist, it has different standards than being, for example, and I want to be fair, whether you're a vlogger, an influencer, or even a radio host, as long as you're not in news, right? So on Twitter, when I did a vlog about VP Lenny, a house tour, somebody asked, may bayad ba to? So
I watched that episode. Right?
I answered on Twitter and said, I've been asked this before, and I have never I've never been paid. I've never accepted money for any of my interviews, whether in whichever platform, meaning TV, radio, or on my YouTube today. So no, I don't accept money from politicians to be interviewed. Now, people thought I was throwing shade, and let's not mention names, at some influencers, right? Or some journalists, which I want to tell you right now on your show, no, I was not making parinig to anyone. No, that's so unfair. Because the truth is, I was answering about
yourself.
Me. So what happened? That tweet,
kumalat na naman. Misinterpreted. Ano na naman interpretation.
Like I just issued the statement alone.
Taken out of context.
Without the question.
Yes, right? And what's this? If, let's say, and this is what I want to say, if politicians hypothetically ask radio announcers, let's say your show, or let's say a vlogger or an influencer, to include them. For me, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. You just need to be transparent.
This is a paid ad.
A sponsored segment.
True.
So you know what I mean? You get the point.
Yeah, because essentially, the influencers, the channels that you have on YouTube, you're basically little
capitalize on that, syempre.
Micro ABS-CBNs, micro GMAs. So, you're a platform.
But can journalists take money at any point? And every single journalist knows this.
No.
The answer is really no. Wala namang yes yan. The minute you do, alam ng journalist mali yan. I won't lie. Alam nilang mali yan, pero ginagawa pa rin. Kung ano man ang dahilan na hindi ko huhusgahan. Pwedeng pangangailangan. Yung sabi nga ni Gino, sometimes, right?
Yeah, when you see that like
homes,
mahal ng rent. Di ba?
Right. Now, but you cannot be then or position yourself as a hard-nosed journalist. I feel that is, yung sabi ni Tony, na ako para sa akin, binababoy mo na ang profesyon nun. Kasi as it is, we all have biases. We're human. Christian Amanpour said this. Christian Amanpour in her CNN plug says, I don't strive to be neutral. I strive to be truthful. When you are truthful, you are not neutral. Because the truth, it's not in the middle. Ganito, may nagnakaw ba ang family? Hindi. Nagnakaw ba ito? Hindi. Walang neutral. What you're asking is open-minded.
Medyo. Depende.
You ask all the questions, you investigate, you vet information. But in the end, when you get to a truth, the truth, it is not neutral in concept. I'll give you an example of something. Now, your viewers can relate. Did you cheat on me or did you not cheat on me? Hello? There's nothing neutral there. I used to
Para nag-flashback lahat eh. Para wait.
Naalala.
Before.
You get the point now.
Yeah, of course. Right.
I don't think Sam, you can date Karen. I don't think you can date Karen, Sam.
Hindi, wala pa naman Facebook na
Asking the hard-hitting questions.
Hindi ka, hindi na pwede sabihin, define cheating.
I wanted people to
depends.
relate. I wanted people to relate. That the truth has, the word is, it's not a side. It's not a bias. The truth leans on one
side.
Yeah.
Did you cheat on me or not? No.
No.
Okay. Did you cheat on me or not? Yes. O, di nandun.
It depends, Karen eh.
On me
Kasi
or not,
maraming
you know what? It's neutral, Ganun.
Kukuha na naman tayo abogado nito.
Kaya nga, did you cheat on me? It depends on your definition
This
of
is cheating eh.
Or di ba we were on a break?
It's mobile cheating.
Text lang naman. Wala naman nangyari.
Holding
Karen,
hands.
sabi ni Sam, oral sex is not cheating daw.
I was young at that time, Tones. I was young. I did not know.
He was a stray, you know.
Now I've seen the light.
Okay, now we're moving lighter, so at least, I want to entertain them. Ano ako sa audience? Cheating is a condition of the heart.
True.
True.
It's
So what are some some red flags for you when you were dating back in the day before
well,
dating?
it's like this. So I'm married. I'm happily married for DJ and I got married 2001. So how many years would we be?
20 years.
21.
Yeah.
Year.
Yeah.
20 years. Yeah.
So DJ and I are yin yang in the sense that he's so quiet. I'm
He is actually.
yeah,
Super steady, yeah.
so steady. I'm so, I get emotional. But when I had boyfriends in the past and they all cheated on me, when I was younger.
Matamaan kayo if you're watching this. Oh. Sige,
I mean,
tuloy tayo.
You can name names.
We cannot carry.
You know who you are.
You know who you are.
Yun na lang.
No, but I'm way too old to carry back.
True.
That wouldn't be very God's promises kind. Right?
I think the thing is when you love someone, or do you really? I think the question for you guys and even your listeners is: do you really think you own them, or you control them, or you possess them? And what I realized later in my 40s, after a lot of pain, of course, and as I got older, is you never really own anyone.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, even if you're married, you think, let's say, and I'm not referring to my husband, please don't think in this way, but I'm just saying people is we all fail.
Yeah.
You can be in a marriage or be in living together with someone.
Yeah.
And at some point you will be shocked that this person who used to adore you, love you, court you, suddenly, diba, to death, wow, may iba.
Yeah. Did this?
Oh,
Yeah.
So, what is the lesson? It's really that it's human nature.
Yeah.
There's nothing. If a person doesn't cheat, he or she chooses not to.
Yeah. The most you can do is hope that they don't.
Yes.
You can't control them into
Yes,
not doing
you
so.
can be the best wife, the best husband, the best boyfriend, the best girlfriend. But it takes that one moment of attraction and a person entertains it. And this is what I've realized when I was younger. I couldn't understand why. And then as I got older, you realize
Ganito pala yun.
that's human nature, because our parents don't teach us this, right?
Yeah.
They don't tell you, Karen.
It's nice to feel wanted kasi, di ba? Yun yung mga parang...
That's the thing. So, what are the red flags? I think attention is one. Attention. When you start paying attention more to a person, something, that's a red flag. And my husband and I laugh about this, the phone. So when I'm with my married friends,
Okay.
one rule is the phone, right?
Yeah.
So it's like somebody's on the phone longer than usual.
Yeah.
Or like there's a code on the phone and you can't just open. So like me,
Yeah.
So my phone, as my husband knows all my passwords, everything.
The
blah,
passcode.
blah. I can leave my phone with him, and he can go through all the messages, whatever, read gossip, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's an indicator that you both are good. More than it is really, I think the phone is a barometer today, not 10 years
Yeah.
ago.
True.
Yeah.
Not just to today.
10 years ago, you only had 30 characters that you could fit into a text message. So
Send
you wouldn't
messages
be
sa
able to
Nokia.
get a lot of...
It's not
Delete,
the barometer, but today the phone is a major telltale sign, Tony. Right? You
I
can't
think
get
about
my
it.
phone.
Yeah. No, because our lives sometimes, nandun yung buhay, di ba?
Ilang phones mo? Ilang phones mo, Karen? Ilang phones mo?
I just have one phone, the ABS
okay.
number that a lot of people know. So my friends know it. People who ask help get to the
Yeah,
phone.
that same number.
I even have some bashers that get on the phone that I learned how to block a number.
How do you handle?
May lumulusot.
How do you handle unwanted advances or yung mga sliding to the DM that want to date you? That
Meron pa ba?
No,
Oo,
not
for
today,
sure.
not today, Sam. But I would have to say maybe a few years ago. No,
Oh.
but people sometimes because they do that not because oh my God I'm so hot like lovey po. No, sometimes that happens because of who you are. Right?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Or there are men who like it because of a certain energy you have.
True.
Yeah.
People always think that it's about youth and beauty. It's not.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get advances, or a man could advance to a woman because it's a certain energy you want in your life,
Yeah.
right? A certain kind of
Attraction.
person you want in your
Certain,
life.
And sometimes it's a
Yes.
challenge, knowing
Yes.
full well that like
Yes.
you're married, you're in an industry with power, and
Yes.
so for them to be able to tame that, to capture
kaya ko to.
that's an
Yes.
achievement.
I think I've experienced it a few times before, but you just draw the line. I think you don't entertain. Because I think, the running joke with friends is the minute you text a guy, let's say a guy texts you and you say, you answer and you say, God bless you. And
Ayun na yun.
Tapos,
girls texts you
Ang
guys.
ganda nun.
Kaya pala hindi sila nagre-reply after that kasi
God bless
Okay,
you,
pala
Gino.
po, girl. You
Ingat,
text
Sam,
for a
God
girl.
bless. Ay, sabi ko na,
You're
God bless
flirting
naman
with a
ako.
girl and she sends ko yan, Tony, you're flirting, and she says, she answers and says, God bless you. Right? That's it.
na God
Mali
bless
pala.
zone
Kasi,
ka, oh.
kasi ako nag-reply pa ako minsan when. Di ba? But anyway, Karen, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It was such a great
Thanks,
conversation. We
guys.
totally enjoyed
Thank
having
you.
you on the show.
Please promote where people can follow you, your YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Thank you.
Are you on OnlyFans as well?
What
Wala
is
pa.
that?
Wala pa.
Research that. Research that.
It's a new platform.
Well, no,
OnlyFans.
to all your viewers and listeners of 89.9. So this is such a fun conversation. I'm so happy to be here. I'm happy I did this. And you can watch me while on ANC. I am on Head Start. So that's where I do my interviews. That's 8 to 9 in the morning. But of course, it's just all over social media. So there's no time there.
Yeah.
But on TV, it's 8 to 9 in the morning. And I'm doing World Tonight, but next week, there will be changes, right? So I don't want to announce it just yet because I want the network to do it. But there will be changes next week to which news program I'll be involved in. So let's leave it at that. And I also have my YouTube, which is what is my YouTube? Karen Davila. And my Twitter and my Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook is I am Karen Davila. There.
Wonderful.
you.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
gracing us with
much.
such a great time with you.
We had fun. Everyone
care.
had fun.
And I'm going to say, God bless you.
God bless you zone.
When?
Right.
When?
Bye. Thank you.
God bless.